Hey guys, I'm back. This is my first video of the year. I'm really excited. It's like I have so many new things coming up for me this year. I have a couple new shows. I have dance stuff. I will be posting stuff for dance this year. That is one of my main goals. Um, I also am going to college. I'm so excited. Um, but this year I am doing my ranking my 2024 shows, except I'm doing it a little differently than I did it last year. Last year I just did the which show I liked overall, but I had all the categories really scattered. Like one thing I would say, oh, the cast of this show was better, so I put it here. Or oh, the costumes of this show was better, so I did it here. So I ended up, instead of just saying my overall shows based on whatever the heck, I am doing 7 different categories, and I will be saying the winners of each category. And then when it gets to the overall show, I'm going to be saying my places going on, and saying which show was last place going into first place, because some of the shows I did not win anything, which sucks, but it's okay. So yeah, roll the intro. Okay, I have done a total of 9 shows this year, with the exception of one show that I did not add into this list. But the only reason why I'm not adding it is just because we didn't actually get to perform it, which sucks. In February, I did Mean Girls. In March, I did Beauty and the Beast. In April, I got to produce a show for the first time. I produced Clue High School Edition. Early May, I did Alice Through the Looking Glass. In late May, I did my musical theater cabaret, which is literally just my finals, so it doesn't really matter. I still included that though because we did perform it, unlike my other show. June, I did Annie Jr. In July, I did Grease. In September, I did Seussical Kids, and in October, I did Girls in the Boat. All of these shows were I don't know what to say. They were all such different versions of a show. I went from Mean Girls to Beauty and the Beast in 3 weeks. So, and then I went from Beauty and the Beast to producing a show. And then I went from producing a show to being in my acting final. So I don't really know how to explain my process throughout all of these shows, but okay guys, so the first category I had was the audition process. The way that the show had to win was me actually wanting to audition for the show, and the audition process wasn't hard. I did get a callback for every single show I auditioned for. However, my winner for this was actually Clue. It was just because this was the first time I got to sit behind the audition panel, and that was probably the best experience of my life. I got to be on the other side and grading people's auditions and seeing how how fun it is to be on the other side, but at the same time how nerve-wracking it is to be on the other side, because a lot of people that auditioned for Clue were my friends, and casting my friends in the show was kind of cray-cray. There was a girl who we called back, but I forgot to put her email on the callback list, so she didn't come. So that was the biggest mistake of my life, and I am to this day probably still regret doing that. We still got her call back in. She ended up getting casted in the show, which I'm really excited about. Well, excited about what in the world? Which I was really happy about. I'm so happy I got to learn how to be on the other side of the audition panel instead of just being the one in front of the production team. I was the production team, and I was really, really happy that I got to do it with 2 of my best friends. So okay guys, so the next category I had for my shows was my role in the show. And it's just so weird doing this without actual words popping up in my head. The criteria to win for this role was just, it wasn't even the rehearsal process, because that's its own category and it's actually next, but more so how much I enjoyed the role itself, not the rehearsal process of the show with the role, but the role itself. And surprisingly, I put Girls in the Boat for this. I played the stroke in Girls in the Boat, and honestly, I have never liked the character so much. The character is pretty much the whole opposite of me, or not, I actually don't know. The stroke in Girls in the Boat was a character that was really stuck up and uptight and thought she should, like, she works hard for what she got, but at the same time, she was a massive, like, me. Like, I was like arguing with everybody that was there, saying that, oh, I'm the better person, I'm better, my college I went to was better, yeah. And then I even had an argument, a huge, like, there was a scene in Girls in the Boat, and honestly, I feel like that was a really pivotal moment in my life of when I got to perform that moment. It was me confronting Ava about her trying to leave the boat. If you guys understand Girls in the Boat, by the way, but if you guys understand that, it's like the U.S. rowing team. So she was trying, like, Ava's character was trying to leave the boat, and I had to stop her. Well, I felt like I had to stop her because if she left, then everybody else is going down. And it was at that point I finally showed some vulnerability in myself. And there's a moment where I step because Ava's trying to walk away from me. But when I stepped, it was, I think, opening night. Everybody was like, like a sitcom kind of way. And I felt so powerful at that moment. But the role I played, I learned so much about the differentiation of me and the stroke. And then I also found a meeting point of, like, our similarities with each other. And that role was absolutely insane. Yeah. Okay, guys, so the next category I had was the rehearsal process of these shows. To, like, meet this criteria, it was more so like, now this one was like how the show went, like the whole, of course, the rehearsal process. I feel like this is kind of self-explanatory category, so I'm just gonna get to it. The winner for that was Beauty and the Beast. No, Beauty and the Beast was unreal. So the show, from like auditions moving forward, I have to say also Beauty and the Beast was my runner-up for the audition process because that was probably one of the most fun shows I have ever done in my entire life. Beauty and the Beast was my dream show. It was one of my dream shows. It was not like I had any dream roles in the show, but just to be in it was like a life goal of mine. Just the whole thing for Beauty and the Beast, like getting to do the dances, getting to do everything, honestly everything. Just the show itself was magical, as it should be as a Disney princess show. All the events that we did, all the fun activities that we did during that show was unreal, and I loved it, and it was probably one of the best shows I have done, like, just in general. So yeah. Okay, so my next category was the music. So for the music stuff, it was just like which show had like a better soundtrack or a better group of songs. And for me, that was my musical theater Cabaret, which is kind of obvious. It's Cabaret, it's like a group of songs and stuff. It was just better than half the shows I did. Like, usually when I do shows, like, even if it's a show that I absolutely loved, like Mean Girls, for example, I love the soundtrack of Mean Girls, and I have listened to it so many times on repeat until I did the show, and you will never catch me listening to Mean Girls again. Same thing with Beauty and the Beast. I used to listen to Beauty and the Beast like religiously. Never again. It's like once I do the show, I can't hear it, I can't sing it, I can't do it again. And and I feel like that's just a preference for me. I think it's not even like trauma from it, but like I have heard it so many times already while doing it And it's different from when I'm just listening to it with my headphones. I'm like actually performing these things, and like I feel like listening to it just doesn't feel the same anymore. So I just stopped listening to it like in general. But with the musical theater cabaret, we didn't do one show with multiple different songs. Like people had duets, people had trios, people had solos, people had like, we had group songs like all together, and we had dances too. Like I know our opening was Welcome to the Renaissance from Something Rotten, and then some of the solos. I know I had a duet with my friend Kevin. We did I Think I Got You Beat from Shrek, and then I had a trio with my girlies Shelby and Evie. We did Alto's Lament, and that was really, really fun. The whole point is that we all did like a beautiful variation of songs, and everybody executed them very nicely, I might add. Like, it was just really fun, and I was really happy that, like, especially how much support they got from all of us. I remember every time Ricky and Jack, because those two were like our tenors, so they both had high notes. Evie and I were like sitting in our sides, and we were like holding hands, like, is he gonna hit it? Is he gonna hit it? And then when they hit it, they're like, ah! Like, it was like, ah! It was just, we're so supportive of each other, and I'm really happy about that, especially when we perform. Everything, all hate goes away. Like, we just all support, and Alright guys, so my next category is the dance category, my personal favorite because I love dance. The dance category was for just how much dance we had to do, because personally I love dancing, and if the dance is good and the dance challenges me and I am sweating, breathing heavily at the end of the number, then it's spectacular. Absolutely insane. Obvious win for that is going to be because Lord have mercy, that show was dance heavy. I was a napkin, I was a silly girl, I was a wolf, for God's sakes. The wolf dance, originally I was like really scared because I was in a whole unitard for the wolf scene. But it was amazing. Like, there was fog, and I was doing like kicks, I was doing cartwheels, like it was like a modern dance like variation, and I was like, wow, I loved it. It was so fun. And then the napkin dance, everybody was doing the napkin dance, because when we did like the high kick stuff, everybody was like, yay, 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 yay. The regular villagers stuff, like Gaston, guys, Gaston was everything. I loved it. I loved like just the opening number, even though I was just walking the opening number, but it doesn't matter. Gaston was really fun because we had the little cups, and it was just, I just, like, the dances are still in my head, and I don't usually remember dances without muscle memory, but I could like break out and show you Be Our Guest right now if I wanted to. I'm not going to because I am too tired and I'm too lazy, but I'm telling you I could if I would, because this show was outstanding. Okay, my last category before we get to the overall show, we had the cast and production team. This was just kind of like a wild card thing. I didn't really care much for it. I wanted to include a show that was me having to audition for it instead of like Clue or Seussical or not Girls in Bed, what am I starting to say? I said Seussical. Annie, hello. Those three shows I didn't actually have to audition for. One of them I was behind the audition panel, the other one we had like a Zoom meeting and Ava just told us to cast, and we were like, okay, great, move forward. Like, but I want to say that if it wasn't Clue or Seussical Kids or Annie, it is Grease. The cast for that show was so funny. I never in my life did I think I was gonna laugh so hard so many times during a show, period. Like, not even like joking. Like, my dance friends, we were like Love Island addicts, I don't know, like. And then there was another group of friends, you know who you are, who were like literally like just pulling out the most random comments, the most random like moments, and even if it didn't involve me, I was still laughing because the things that they did was just absolutely like outrageous. Like, the production team for that show too was just great. I loved them. Close second would have been Annie Jr. because that was also really fun. The kids, just working with the kids, the production team just being on the other side of the production team. It's just I had to do so much more work in Annie. The Grease was just audition, go, and fun. I mean, some things happened, but like, if you're a theater kid, you know that like not every show is going to be like the world's best show, and I don't think any show that I did this year was like the perfect show, like from start to finish. Like Grease was not from the start. I can tell you right now, I almost dropped the show. I still went for it because I have never dropped the show in my life. From after auditions forward, it was like such a fun experience just to be with the cast and with the production team. It was just fun, and I loved it. So, yay, Tay. Alright, we are at the time where I give the overall show their win. I'm going to go from 9th place forward. I do want to give a shout out to Chemical Imbalance, or just more of an honorable mention. This show, I had a great role in it. I was Ambrosia, and it was a Jekyll and Hyde play. It was my acting 3 final. Jade was Jekyll/Hyde, and I was playing his sister Ambrosia. Obviously, we unfortunately had too many snow days leading towards the show, and we were not ready. So we could not put on the show. Luckily, we didn't pay for it. Otherwise, the show would have just gone to like shambles. However, there were a lot of great moments, and I really loved the role I played. Really wish we got to put on the show, but we didn't get to. And we still have like video proof that the show exists. It was a very good show, I have to say that. And I love the cast because it was my acting 3 class. I was like 4 juniors, 4 seniors, or 5 juniors, 4 seniors, I don't know. But it was a junior senior level class because it was acting 3. It was a level 3 course. And I was just, I really wish we got to do it because I really had a lot of fun with my role. My accent for that show was horrific, though. I didn't even know I was doing a bad British accent until I saw the videos. I just got the videos this, like a month ago, by the way. And I was watching it and I was like, oh my god, thank god we didn't perform this, but like, dang. On to rank number 9. Unfortunately, I am choosing Mean Girls as my 9th place show. The show was just not, for me, it was not a good experience, like, at all. Like, my parents hated that show. I didn't hate it. I had a dream role in that show, and I think it was my first time, like, getting kicked off my high horse, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this role. Oh, I'm the only choice for this role, and I got ensemble. And, I didn't see myself playing ensemble in this show, because the ensemble doesn't really do anything if you're not, like, it just wasn't good. To me, personally, I know there were a lot of people who did seriously enjoy the show, but again, those were, like, the people who got the roles they wanted. I just, first of all, I was going through, like, so much, like, mental issues, and, like, it was just not a good place for me to be in. I just didn't drop it because I don't drop shows, because I feel like every show is a learning experience for me, and I did learn some stuff being in that show. I learned, like, ensemble reasons, like, there were things I learned. I cannot tell you them, but I know there were things I learned. Yeah, I also had, like, serious conflicts with that show. Like, I should have dropped it, but because I don't drop shows, I didn't. But, like, dude, everything was wrong with that show for me, and, like, it was just not a good experience at all. So, the show itself was fun. It was just my experience that was probably gut-wrenchingly bad. But, yeah, all love. I don't like hating on shows, so I don't hate the show. I just had a really bad experience with it, therefore it's at that placement. we're moving on. So in 8th place, I unfortunately have Girls in the Boat. Ah! I know. Even though Girls in the Boat was probably one of my most hardest roles that I've had to play. Also one of my favorite roles too. I even put that in first place for my roles. The show itself was boring. The point being, like, I did seriously, I liked it at certain points. There were seriously some good moments. It's just the show itself was boring. Like, if I had the choice, I probably wouldn't have done it. I'm sorry. Like, I couldn't. And again, no hate. Like, the cast was great. I had so much fun with that cast. It was towards Tech Week where things got a little hectic because we weren't moving forward as fast as we were supposed to be. And we had to keep running and running and running things. Even on closing night, we still had to, like, run things over because they were still not working. And I think it was honestly just that the show was hard and it wasn't as, like, marketable to the public. Again, no hate. The show itself was fine. I just in 7th place, I have Grease. Now, let me say this. I just said that Grease was a very fun rehearsal process. And it was. I can't deny that. It was the audition process that got me put down here. Like, that got the show put down here. It was like so much happened with that audition process. I was working my butt off to get a specific role in the show, and then I wasn't called back for it, which made me upset. And because my vocal coach was the director of that show. Love her, by the way. She's my queen. But that's also a hard part of when your vocal coach is literally the director. You can't, like, ask for, like, more help when it's getting towards that point. I mean, I did ask for help, obviously. She even recorded my audition. But you can't, like, I'm not going to be the one to, like, suck up to them and say, like, oh, I really want this role, give it to me, please. No, I'm not going to do that. And I didn't. Like, I tried not to, hello. But I wasn't called back for that specific part. And then when the role I was called back for, I worked hard to get that part. But she gave it to somebody who wasn't actually called back for the role, which happens in theater. Junior year me was a really, really, really bad time for me. I really have to say that. Like, all the shows I did, I was not a good person last year. And I needed so much time to reflect on that and make myself realize that I was not how I should have been last year. Everything else with Grease went well. It was just the audition process of going into that show. I ended up having a lot of fun with Teen Angel. Yeah, I don't see myself doing this show again, but Teen Angel was really, really fun, and I loved the dancing of it. I got to be a cheerleader, and I got to wear, like, this really big fat skirt, which I didn't even know happened with cheerleaders back then. But yeah, girl, that was one of the funnest shows I've ever done. It was seriously just the audition process, but that moved past me a while back afterwards. My 7th place for my overall shows was Annie Junior. Now, let me say this. This was my senior capstone project that I had to do, and if you guys don't know, my senior capstone is, like, a project that I have to do within my high school major, which is theater, obviously. And I have to get 50 hours of work learning, which I have to have a mentor for, and I have to do something that was related to theater, and then make a presentation about the problem that I found within that, whatever my work is anyway. I chose to be a choreographer intern for Annie Junior. That's the only reason why I did it. I was not in the show, I just choreographed, like, one number, and I was helping out Chloe with all the other choreo stuff. And I was how regular for the entire rest of the show day. But I had no other reason to be there after, like, Tech Week. Yeah, the show, it ate. I gotta say it ate. My dance probably didn't eat, but it ate. Like, the rest of it ate. I remember that was my first time choreographing for a, like, audience production. I've always done dances, like, I've choreographed for people before and stuff, but it was never for an audience. It was never for, like, an audience performance, and that was my first time. I don't have a reason why it's so low. I just didn't do much afterwards. So I just didn't do much in that show because I wasn't in it, but at the same time I was kind of pivotal for part of the rehearsals. So, yeah. Oh, you know what? Annie was 6th place and I said 7th. I'm so sorry. We're going to 5th place now. Honestly, I had a hard time switching 5th and 6th because both of them were kind of at the same point, except it wasn't. But 5th place I have is Clue. And Clue was, again, my first time. This was my first time being on a production team, period. Like, it wasn't, like, to be anything. I was the producer, and the job of the producer is, like, working on budgeting and, like, sending out emails and working on the promotional marketing for the show. Nothing was wrong with Clue. Honestly, it was a really fun experience until the end. The cast didn't know about it, but I was in, like, a small, like, dilemma with the other two production team members. I still kept one of them. We love Spencer. If I could go back in time and fix things, Clue would have been, like, 2nd place, bro. Like, yeah, it was seriously, like, I loved it. And I think I was in 3 shows at the time. I was in Chemical Imbalance, I was in Beauty and the Beast, and I was in Mean Girls. And a couple weeks after Mean Girls, I had Clue. And that was fun, you know? I sat in the back, watched the show, watched everything come to life, and I was like, whoa. We did that. This show, it was like, again, I wasn't in it, but I had such a huge improvement of myself, learning how to be a producer for a show. And learning more marketing skills. Yay, Tay Tay. Okay, in 4th place, we have, what am I looking at? I gotcha. My musical theater cabaret. This isn't higher because of the fact that it wasn't actually a show. This was something we were working on from the beginning of the school year to the end of the school year. We had a whole year to work on, like, half of these. But at the same time, when it comes to the theater department and theater majors at my school, yeah, the show, like, not the show, it's a cabaret. The dances were outstanding. Just working on it. Our class was great. Our class was so fun, and I loved them. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about this class, though, because it's a fever dream. So, I miss it a lot, and I hope to God that it's better this year, or at the same level this year, you know? I'm not, like, saying that last year was bad. That sounded like I was saying last year was bad. Oh my god. We are at our top 3 now for my overall shows. So drum roll please for 3rd place. Okay, I'm done. Alice Through the Looking Glass. Yeah, I gotta say, you know what? I'm gonna be a little petty about this because I was Alice. So anyway, yeah, no, that show was my acting 2 final. So you know how I had an acting 3 final, but I just said I had an acting 2 final? I took acting 3 first semester, and then I went back down to acting 2 second semester because I accidentally, when my schedule was made, they put me in acting 3 first without knowing I didn't have the prerequisite of taking acting 2. So I literally just, like, downstepped. I think once I was casted as Alice, I needed to, like, full send myself and show that I can be a lead for once in my life. Because let me tell you, that was the only lead I was ever going to get my school. Because I've never gotten a lead at my school, and I'm not a lead now. So I'm not a lead in this last show I am at the school. So that was my only ever time getting a lead, like the lead character. We did that show in my black box theater because, again, it was a final. All finals are done in, like, the black box. My musical theater cabaret was a final. It was done in the black box. I was on stage 99% of the time. I left the stage once that entire show. It was only 30 minutes, but again, I only left the stage once, so that was kind of sucky. Compared to Girls in the Boat, I never left the stage. I was on stage the whole time. Yeah, honestly, Alice was a great show. I had a lot of fun being twirled around by Tweedledees and Tweedledum. Tweedledees? Whoa. Oh, you know what? I had fun with Savannah, and because she was the white rabbit, and that was the funniest thing. If I'm gonna find a costume, like her picture of her costume, but she, honestly, I kept saying that she looked like Macklemore from the Thrift Shop music video, because of like the big wash that she had on. She had like a big puffer jacket, not a puffer jacket, of what is it called? I don't know. I'll pull it up. It's gonna be like right here. She just looked so funny to me. But she was supposed to be a rabbit, and it was like our chemistry with each other, insane. But that show, I gotta say, was probably one of the funniest shows I've ever been in. But yeah. We are at number 2. Anyways, number 2, drum roll. Seussical Kids! Okay, I did not talk about Seussical, like, at all for this right now. Because Seussical didn't win anything. I feel so bad. Ick. Okay. But honestly, neither did Alice, so I had to talk about Alice a lot. Seussical Kids was Ava's, my queen Ava. That was her senior capstone project, and I was asked to choreograph the entire show. It's not the full 90 something minute show. It was a 45-minute version. That was a full circle loop for me. My very first show when I started theater was Seussical, and going into that was my freshman year, and now I'm ending high school, starting like my first show starting was Seussical Kids, and then I started my senior year. Well, it's not Seussical Kids, it was just regular Seussical, but I ended with Seussical Kids. Not ended, but like boop. Like I was really happy that we got to do Seussical Kids and that I got to choreograph that time. I worked a lot harder and I did a lot better doing the choreography for this show because I learned about people's strengths, people's weaknesses, just the stuff about like what could happen, and it was great. Like the music was great. There was actually no problems with this show either. Like I'm so happy nothing wrong happened during this show. But yeah, like Seussical Kids was seriously one of the best things. Oh, also the biggest trifecta of all time, me, Evie, and Ava. Put that trio together more often because we just made a bomb show with that. Major shout out to Ava too, because Ava did everything. I just made the people dance. I just put like dance, go, yeah. It was a really good show. I gotta say that. That's all I gotta say. I'm sorry. Like there was one show that beat out it all, and it was the best show I had ever done in my life. I'm pretty sure you guys already know because I just singled out every other show in this my list. But the winner of my 2024 Wrapped shows is Beauty and the Beast. Anyways, that wasn't cute at all. I feel like this is self-explanatory. Beauty and the Beast was like the show to do, and I've never been so like I cried so much when it was over. And you know what? I'm probably gonna cry a little bit more this year with the show that we're doing because it is a show I've been wanting to do for the past 3 years. It was around the same duration of actually no, the show I'm doing right now is the same duration of how long I wanted to do Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast, hello? How long I wanted to do Beauty and the Beast. Yes, there were some downsides to Beauty and the Beast because it was during my junior year villain arc era, but overall, I think towards the end, it got so much better. I learned something through every single show I did this year. Not this year, technically last year because it's 2025 by the time you're seeing this. But I think everybody should do shows regardless of if you like it or not, just because you 100% will learn something through the show. Dropping a show is honestly unnecessary unless you have like the world's worst conflicts of all time. Don't give up an opportunity just because you don't like a show or you didn't get the role you wanted or you weren't doing your best. Like just do it, because something has to come out like positively from that show, unless you're miserable the whole show and then you But that's something you make yourself do, honestly, to me. Like, I know I have made myself miserable through shows. I made myself miserable through Mean Girls, yet I still learned something from it. Like, if I didn't have the villain arc that I had last year, I'm calling my junior year a villain arc now, that's funny. But honestly, if I didn't have the experience of being, like, pushed down my butt last year, I think all hell would have broke loose this year, and I did not want that. So I think I needed that learning experience from every single show to get to where I am now. And I think I am doing a lot better than I was last year. As a person, as an actor, as a singer, as a dancer. I don't know if it's a singer. I feel like I'm degrading as a singer, honestly. This is a vent session now. Oh my god. If you guys liked the video, please like it. If you don't, I don't care. Subscribe if you want. Again, if you don't, I make these videos for fun. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!